Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be taking a look at an almost complete set of the Japanese Lucky Stadium promo cards from the year 2000. And I say almost complete set because I am actually missing a card that is associated with this specific release. So oftentimes there are 9 cards grouped together for this release. Obviously that means we'll only have 8 here today. And the reason that I don't have the 9th one is because it is somewhat rare and it is also very expensive. So I don't typically edit my videos. I'll usually just upload them straight as they are. But what we'll do today is we'll go through the 8 cards that I have here, and then I will edit in an image of the 9th card so you have that as a visual reference as I work through some of the details about that card specifically. And the last thing I'll say before we start is I honestly wasn't sure if I should make this video. You know, part of me, that being the completionist side of me, was thinking that, you wait until you have the complete set to make the video. Don't make the video missing any pieces. But like I said, that 9th card is extremely expensive. So there's a good chance that I'll never own that card in my lifetime. And when I kind of looked at it from that angle, that almost reinforced my desire to make this video, because if I never own the card in my lifetime, then I never make the video in general, and I never highlight these 8 cards. And these cards are genuinely some of my favorite cards in my entire collection. They are extremely unique, and they are obviously also represent a very specific moment in time in Pokemon's history. So very excited to be talking through these 8 cards today. And with that, we'll just go ahead and get started. So like I said, the Japanese Lucky Stadium promos from the year 2000, these were handed out to the participants of the Japanese World Challenge Summer Tournament, which was held in July and August of the year 2000. And like I said, we have 8 here today, representing the 8 regions of Japan. So each region had its own specific artwork. Each artwork also features a different Pokemon for each region. And what I think is the coolest part about these cards is each artwork also features a visual representation of the region that leg of the tournament was held in. And that is usually depicted with natural landscape or man-made structures. And I'll be sure to talk through all of them as we go ahead and flip through. But with that, we'll go ahead and get started with our first one right here. This is from Kyushu, so you'll obviously see, let's see if I can pull closer. You see Onyx is the Pokemon that is included in the artwork for this region. And then in the background, you have Mount Aso, which is Japan's largest active volcano. So those are the kind of details that I think are super unique and what make these cards super underrated. Again, the historical significance, but also tying it back to the specific location of these events in the artwork is such a nice touch. Next, we'll move into Kanto, or Kanto as we say in the West. You'll see Lugia's silhouette up here on the top right. And then in the background, you'll see several high-rise buildings, as well as the Tokyo Radio Tower, creating the Tokyo skyscape in the background. And then we'll move into Kansai. So you have Ho-Oh up here in the top left, and then you have a part of Toji Temple sticking up right toward the middle of the image. And you kind of couple that beautiful traditional Japanese architecture with Ho-Oh and the sunset. It really gives off Ecruteak City vibes from the Johto region, which I really, really like. Next, we will move into Chugoku / Shikoku. The Pokemon will be Gyarados right here swimming in the water. And then behind Gyarados, if you can see it, again, some of the details on these cards are relatively small, so hard to capture on camera without messing up the glare. But you'll see the floating Tori in the back here at the Itsukushima Shrine. The next one we have here is for Chubu. So obviously, I'm sure you see Zapdos over here on the top left. And then this structure right here is the central tower of Osaka Castle. And then here we have Tohoku. This one, if you look at it really far away, it's kind of hard to see. But the Pokemon featured is Diglett down here. And then the structure, again, another one that's kind of hard to see because it's very deep in this image. But if you look closely, you can see Godaido Shrine, which is in the islands of Matsushima. And then we will move into Hokushinetsu. Obviously Mew, you'll see floating up in the sky there. And then the background features the Japanese Alps. And the last one we have is for Hokkaido. You'll see a statue right here of Pikachu. And then right next to Pikachu is the Sapporo Clock Tower. Again, just a really cool attention to detail and tying these cards back to the region they were distributed in. I think that is such a super underrated quality. And again, I think these cards are just so underappreciated for how cool they are. I'll try and fan them out. I know the zoom here is a little bit zoomed in, but yeah, those are the 8 that were awarded throughout Japan. So now what we'll do, I'll go ahead and throw that 9th card on screen right now. So what you are seeing is the Lucky Stadium for Tropical Mega Battle from the year 2000. And Tropical Mega Battle was an international invitational tournament that was held in Honolulu, Hawaii. And it had representation from several different regions around the world. So players who qualified at these events here were invited to participate in this event, as well as people who qualified from other regions, which included obviously Japan, but also the United States, Canada, Latin America, and other parts of Asia. And the other thing worth noting is that this tournament specifically was closed off to the age bracket of 11 to 14. And with all of those regions combined, a total of 42 players attended this event in the year 2000. And I think one of the other cool things about this card is that it obviously, I'm sure you noticed, is bilingual. So it has both English writing and Japanese writing on the same exact card. And it also follows a similar theme to the cards that we walked through from the Japanese events. The viewpoint in the card looking out at the beach on Honolulu, Hawaii is basically a replica of where the event was held. So again, inspired by the exact location that the event took place, which is super, super cool. And like I said, there were 42 kids who participated in this tournament. I think it's safe to assume that there's likely more than 42 copies of this card out there. I'm sure there were extras that staff had on hand. And I think even if you look at some of the pop reports across all the grading companies, if you factor in like regrades and resubmissions, I think that number would total above 42. But I would think it's safe to assume there's likely more than 42 out there, given extras and staff copies. But that's all I had for you today on the Japanese Lucky Stadium promos. Again, some of my favorite cards in my collection. Hope you enjoyed the history lesson. Appreciate you checking out the video. I'll see you in the next one.